Welcome to the lecture on education. Education and educational institutions may be one of the key tools not only for dealing with consequences of conflicts, but also for creating conflict-resilient communities. Education systems can become repositories of conflict or of peace. Historical discourses that we hear in post-conflict schools can be emotionally loaded, full of memories and traumas of war. They may be one-sided, excluding the perspectives of the other. Such education often creates and maintains differentiation along ethnic lines generations to come. On the other hand, education for peace may provide communities with tools for successful resistance to violence and destructive conflict as they resolve or manage the tensions in their respective environments. Memories of conflict, destruction, and atrocities influence education. What is taught in history classes are usually selective memories of people, who people are as a nation, collective, group. These stories are forged by elites for the purposes of national or group unity and cohesion. However, there are always alternative memories that challenge those official narratives and provide new insights. Such stories are disruptive to status quo and official narratives, but they provide openings for change, bringing nations closer to truth, diversity, and complexity. It is important in post-conflict societies to move away from patriotic and heroic narratives to understand the periods of cooperation among nations. Some scholars argue that education has a limited reach in spearheading change. Schools cannot fully control preferences and behaviors of individuals because those preferences are also influenced by exposure outside schools and complex social conditions imbued with power dynamics often beyond their grasp. System change cannot be introduced only by changing curricula, textbooks, programming policies, and teachers' training. The issues and causes of conflict are complex, and therefore change cannot be thought of in linear terms. Change has to be undertaken at various levels, addressing multiple sources of conflict and involving a variety of actors such as teachers, parents, students, administrators, civil society, advocates, artists, etc. One of the problems limiting the ability of women to participate in political processes in many conflict-stricken societies is their disadvantage in education. Few states have taken steps to increase women's political participation as a way to prevent conflict and foster constructive intercommunal dialogue. The ruling parties in South Africa, ANC, Mozambique, Frelimo, and Namibia, SWAPO, established women's quotas on candidates' lists. In Rwanda, where women comprise over 60% of the post-genocide population, women held 49% of parliamentary seats after the 2003 elections. Rwanda still has the largest female parliamentary representation worldwide. During wartime, education is clearly affected by impediments to sending children, especially girls, to school. However, roots of the problem of educating girls may be seen in much deeper cultural practices even in peaceful times. The economic factors and international assistance initiatives influence access to education as well as communal responses to them. For example, in many parts of Afghanistan, and especially in rural southern areas, the schools have been burned down and there is a lack of teachers. Some schools remain empty due to poor security, and in some areas the classes are conducted in the open or under tents. Some of the key suggestions for action in Afghanistan and similar conflict-ridden societies include developing teachers' training and increasing the number of qualified teachers, as well as inclusion of the NGOs, community-based organizations, and local leadership in deliberations about improving the education sector. Problems in post-conflict education systems. In post-conflict societies, there is a tension between history taught in school and at home. Teachers' techniques to try to override this tension is avoidance of confrontation and difficult topics, and focusing on learning through exploration and basic information. However, such techniques create divisions among students as well as a rift between students and teachers. Teachers and parents have an important role in the process of mediating an appropriation of historical meanings. The appropriation of certain historical narratives happens relationally, and we need to confirm their content in the family, school, and community. Innovation and art in education can encourage and support people to gain fresh perspective about conflict and its transformation through movement, creative expression, and embodied experience. Such approaches seek to increase awareness of nonverbal communication, generate fresh perspectives, and enact behavioral change in the midst of conflict, chaos, uncertainty, and rapid change. Innovative approaches such as intercommunal painting workshops, experiential exercises, reflective practices, poetry, improvisational theater, dance, music, they all influence people's experience of conflict, their sense of identity, and reveal new ways of addressing challenges and taking action. Educational systems should be seen as complex and dynamic systems, which is important for envisioning the processes that are taking place and are not linear and cannot be explained as a consequence of only one or a few simple causes. A complex systemic approach considers multiple causes, events, and stakeholders dynamically influencing each other to produce certain outcome. By focusing solely on textbooks, teachers' trainings, curricula, does not offer a comprehensive picture analysis. For example, when I explored educational models in Croatia, I discovered that what is missing was taking into consideration a crucial component of private and family space, as well as parents' role in shaping children's views in history. The goal should not be creating joint narratives or compromise based on similarities that are ignoring differences, but creating something new through creative process. Focus should shift on procedures and collaborative learning that would lead to change in patterns of interaction. Collaborative learning principles imply the need for recognizing the presence of the other and creation of space for that initial leap of faith of engaging with the other, with the so-called enemy. Individuals can be agents of change, and they should not be seen as passive and marginal. The individuals can regain their agency by taking on the responsibility to question what is considered right, official, and mainstream. Policymakers should be enabling participation of various stakeholders in creation of educational policies, curricula development, and textbooks in post-conflict societies. It should not be only a prerogative of the state. Voices from the grassroots should be heard. Interactive programs, encounters, and exchanges with youth should be encouraged. Learning together about nonviolent and constructive options of engagement should be prerogative. Thanks for listening.